You're listening to Lyfe and Shyt. I'm Daneyel Walker.
And I'm Tommy Walker.
Join us as we talk about our journey overcoming fears, boundaries, marriage, family, lifestyle, business, and whatever other shit you can think of.
We're individuals that came together to create one unit with one mind and one goal. Welcome to another episode of Lyfe and Shyt. My name is Tommy Walker. I am the man on the MC microphone, and I don't know what I'm doing. I just felt like I had to do that right now.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
How you
Is
feeling?
that how we doing it? Is that what we doing?
I feel like Les Brown.
This is Dani D on the mic, doing what I do every day, every night, feeling all right, rocking the mic like I do, and I do it right.
You so good at corny rapping.
Let's go. Yeah, I corny rap well.
You are
It's my
very
favorite
good.
thing.
You are a very good corny rapper.
It's my favorite thing to do, honestly.
I don't give a shit.
He's silly corny
You are
rapper.
good at it. I can't do it.
You're so funny. It's fun. It's just,
But
you're so funny.
It flows. It flows. Like when it comes out, I'll be like, oh, check you out. God damn.
I love you.
I got a question for you. You might not like it because we ain't talk about it, but you know, we freestyling.
Yeah, we are.
Today we talk about public speaking. Do you imagine everyone in the room to be naked when you speak in the
Oh,
public?
that's hilarious. No.
No?
No.
What do you imagine when you speaking in public?
Oh, that's funny. So I have learned now to picture as if I know everybody, like they're my mom or they're my cousins or it's like family. Okay. Right, because I'm comfortable around family and I could talk, right? Because public speaking is the number one fear, like in the world, right? People are more afraid.
Number two to death.
Oh, okay, well, that's
and I don't even know if it's still number two, but yes.
Yeah. So it's pretty crazy. So yeah.
All right, I get it. So when you used to, all right. So for those that don't know, Daneyel and I met in church, right? And that was a weird experience because when we talk about it, people be like, really? Like in church? Yes. Like when it first started out, I had no idea what I was getting into, but all of a sudden I was all in. And I had to do a lot of speaking in church. A lot of speaking,
you did.
right, in front of the congregation and all that. And I preached a couple times. My producer makes fun of me. He calls me Deacon Walker sometimes.
You was Deacon.
I was, yeah. I was
The
elder.
stinking
All that
deacon.
shit. Damn, I was thinking.
Oh. Tell me.
And my public speaking experience came from being in the military. So I had to publicly speak in front of officers, right? And they drilled in my head, don't fuck up in front of these officers because they're going to eat you alive. And right off the back, I was like, well, I'm a kid from South Jamaica, Queens. I grew up in Far Rockaway. Like, ain't nobody going to eat me alive, right? So
That ain't happening.
yeah, so right off the back, I was like, all right, well, I'm going to just be fucking great. Like, if you telling me that these dudes who I have no idea who they are can eat me alive based off my presentation, then I'm going to be fucking great.
I love that, babe.
So for public speaking to be so scary to people, why? Like, I don't get why.
What's the intimidation?
Yeah, like what it comes down to. And
That's
it's one
a good question.
And it's one of the things that, you know, when talking to even our supervisors, like our supervisors have to talk in front of their teams. We make them talk in front of their teams every single day. And even those guys were nervous, like they were scared. And we gave them different skills on how to be better public speakers. Now, to me, public speaking is if you're talking to 3 people or 3,000 people,
Right.
It doesn't matter. It's
Right.
perspective.
The same, yeah. So what do you think they're scared of?
Failure.
Right. Saying the wrong thing, being called
Fumbling
out
over words.
Yeah. It is. And it's like one of those things, like you talk to everybody, right? Like you're talking, just talk. What about you though? Do you picture everybody naked? Like what's your deal? What do you do?
I wish it was that easy to picture everybody naked. It's kind of weird though. Like
You'd be sitting there with a awkward situation in your pants.
Yeah, exactly. Like whoever came up with that shit, like what was they thinking about? It was like, just imagine a room naked.
I think maybe they did. I don't know.
I mean,
That's great.
I'm
That's a
sure
great
there's some
question,
type of, neuroscience, shit that's probably working and all that in the background. But for me, I mentally block out the room from a perspective of judgment. Because at the end of the day, people don't want to be judged. It's like, all right,
true.
did I deliver or did I? So for me, it's not about did I deliver. I'm coming in to deliver. And if you didn't like it, I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's dope.
Unfortunately, you can't get your money back.
Yeah.
You know,
it's mine, right? And then there's several different types of public speaking that you do. Like one is ceremonial, right? So it's like the preacher has it's all performance too, right? And then demonstrative, that's like when you're showing someone something. Those are fun. But I think if you know your shit, then it's fun, it's like an informative speech or like talking and you're informing. Like when you really love what you're talking about, you're right. It is. It's like you could tell, and it's a fun thing to even listen to. A persuasive speech. I like persuasive speeches too because I like to try to persuade people on to
or the opposite.
What?
Yeah. Sometimes I just want to be persuaded, baby.
This is true. Because it's like I'll feel, and I'm really working on this as well though. I'll feel very strongly about something, but then I'll listen to someone else's opinion, and if you could persuade me to the other way, I'm like, okay.
See, and what's funny about that is because I have a belief that. That's all we're doing here on Earth is persuading
each
people,
other,
right? So our whole conversation mostly is trying to persuade somebody else on what we think about or our theories and shit like that,
Come
right?
to my way, right?
Yeah, it's like believe in what I believe for whatever reason. And the whole, when they say, teach one, reach one, is like. Yeah, I'm teaching one to reach one to come over the. It almost sounds real fucking Harry Potter like, right? Like come over, my son.
Where do you think public speaking started?
When?
Yeah.
Oh shit! Way back.
Like in Roman days, right?
Well, I mean, even before that. I mean, the oldest countries, right? Or oldest cultures, right? You got China, Rome, Africa, and wherever there was a kingdom. The king had to publicly speak.
This is true.
Right? And it wasn't like people judged him on what his speech was. Motherfuckers was like, that's the goddamn king.
True.
Like, all hail the king.
Very true.
Right? Even, and what made me think about that even now is when we were just traveling, where were we at? We were in, I think it was Singapore when we were traveling, and they had a shrine up of, it was either Singapore or Bali. I can't remember where we were. And they had a shrine up of like, this is the king and the queen and all this stuff. And I was like, damn, they was like, and then it said all hail. No, actually it was Thailand.
Oh, it said all hail the king?
It was, because it said we was leaving the airport.
Yeah.
It was like, I was like,
and it was a picture of him. Not like a statue of him, it's an actual picture.
Actual picture, yeah. It was like all hail the king, such and such. Now, granted, most countries nowadays, they do have, royalty, but the royalty is not the ones that govern the entire land. There's still some government that works with it. I just think about some shit like that in America. Like, all hail Joe Biden.
That's super. You're so silly. Yeah, it's so silly.
Yeah, that shit would be crazy.
Oh Lord. Well, public speaking started. It started around 2,000 years ago, right? And this is in Athens. And of course, once Rome became stronger in the power, they kind of created a whole different kind of a space for public speaking. And yeah, you're absolutely right. That is how kings and queens and just everyone, that's how those messages were put across. People would stand and just kind of preach their word or whatever it was.
Be on a soapbox.
Yeah, and then people would come stand around and listen. So it's like one of those things where it wasn't a like performance, but they performed, and it was things that they were definitely passionate about.
So how do you, so back to what you were saying about how to overcome the fear is first understanding what you're talking about, understanding your content, right? So all of us have to publicly speak at some time, some point in life, even if you're accepting an award, unless you just give no shits about being successful or excelling at whatever it is that you like.
This is true.
Because even if you excel at what you like, if you're a skateboarder and you excel at that, you're gonna have to publicly speak in front of people. So just understanding the content, understanding your audience, right? Like if you could at least, relate to your audience, if you could be down in the trench with them, you understand what they're going through, where they're coming from, why they're there to listen to you. It makes all the difference.
Yeah, it does.
And when people talk about public speaking, I can see if you walked into the room and you have no idea who you're talking to, you have no idea the content, so therefore you have no idea how it's going to come across. Yeah, that's like a Democrat walking into a room full of Republicans. Yeah, he's not going to deliver, right? But if you are a Democrat walking in a room full of Democrats, you'll probably be the man.
Feel a little more comfortable.
Exactly.
That is true.
It's that simple. Now, for me personally, I want to be, when I grow up, I want to be a professional public speaker. Like that's what I want to do every day, all day.
That's nice. You speak well.
And well, thank you, man. I appreciate it. and how to get there. That's what I'm working on today. So if you was to ask me, how do you become a public speaker? One thing, public speaking is one thing. You go out in the goddamn corner and be a public speaker. Yeah. You know, like nobody's gonna pay you for that.
Right.
But I want to be a professional public speaker. And I hope you be my roadie.
Your roadie.
Yeah, my road manager.
I'll be your road manager. Baby.
That's it. You know, that's what roadie is a road manager.
No, I thought roadies were the people who hung out with they're on the road with you, so they're called roadies.
Them too, but your road manager is the roadie.
No,
the road manager is the one that makes things happen.
No, I think you might have it a little mistaken there, baby,
right,
but
I'm looking
that's
up
okay.
right now.
And what's a roadie?
Yeah.
Okay. And for now, the number one fear for people is speaking in public. Just so you know, it's one of the number one fears. Approximately 76 of us have these fears and anxiety towards presenting or speaking in public. Even doing what we do now, I'm okay because I feel like I'm kind of hidden behind the mic and I forget that the camera's there sometimes, which is good because I kind of still flow. But as soon as I start thinking about the camera, I lose my words a little bit. I'm like, shit. What was I talking about? Or if it gets good and I'm like, ooh, but then I start thinking like, oh man, what are people going to say? Or, but honestly, the more we do this, the more it's just like, let's go. I get way more comfortable.
That's 1,000% true. So you will not be my roadie.
I told you.
You will be my road manager.
Thank you. Thank you. I told you,
I was
baby.
like, oh, no, but we will hire a roadie. Somebody has to handle the equipment. Tells you how much I know.
I was like, I'm pretty sure the roadie does a lot of stuff. So I was like, you're a roadie, babe? Like, you gonna have me working? Shit.
Not like that. No. You're gonna be coordinating everything.
I love you. I got you, babe. I got you, and I will be your manager, your road manager for sure. I already actually got some things cooking right now, so. Be prepared.
Shit.
Just be prepared.
All right.
Yeah, you're really good at public speaking, and not only that, but coming off the top of the head with things, right? And I think that's a good
Except
skill.
for corny rapping.
You're so silly.
I can't corny rap. That's the trip, though. Like
corny rap. Stop calling it corny rap.
All right, so rapping.
I can get paid. I'm just saying if I wanted to, and I ain't playing.
See? I couldn't do that. Like right now, legit, I could not do that. Y'all just dropped the bar for y'all, and I could not do that.
We do it all the time, me and the girls. It's just one of those things.
And you get a kick out of that shit.
I really do.
You be like, oh, I want to go out. I'm like, whoa, slow down. I'll be your roadie if you ever decide to go be a rapper. I'll be like,
not a rapper, but like spoken word or something like that. I have a lot of pieces. I have a lot of recordings, but they're done in the car and, like I said, behind the mic, right? So to get in front of people and actually say it that's a totally different thing, And those are real feelings and emotions. And I mean, even like this, don't get me wrong, just being behind this mic, it takes a lot for me.
It does.
And being totally in front of the film, and and that's why I always say, like, I look at it, but I try my hardest, like, oh my gosh, because I'm so critical, So to actually talk in front of people and just, I don't know, it's the after and people saying like, oh, I don't, it's just getting out of my head.
It is. And you fought me for a long time on a lot of this stuff. Like Daneyel and I've had conversations all the way back when we first got together. So I proposed to Daneyel back in 2007. And in 2009, we had a conversation about, being on radio, doing interviews, a lot of stuff. And I don't know if she believed me at the time or not. She thought like, motherfucker, you just talking shit. and we would practice. Like we would sit and practice. I remember the first podcast we ever did. We were on the phone with someone and I didn't even know what the fuck a podcast was.
I know what we were doing.
We were just talking.
Yeah.
And then we went into studios and it was like, okay, this is cool. But to me, it was still radio.
Yeah.
Right. I was like, oh, no, this is radio still. But no, it was podcasting. And then, that just kind of blossomed. And until this day, Danielle will still be like, no, I don't want to do that. I'm like, but we've done it 100 times. Like we're used to this. And until today, she's still, no, I'm not used to it. So as shy and as humble as she is, and she still gets up here in front of the people, in front of the microphone, and still will drop whatever she wants to drop. And it sound comfortable as it is. So I appreciate you. Like honestly, like people need to look at that fear. And I'm joking, but at the same time, I'm being very serious because you have a fear and you do it every single week. And for those that will say, oh, I can't, I will not. Danielle does it every single week when we come into the studio. She's like, oh shit, like if it's brand new.
Yeah. And
I applaud you for that.
Thank you, baby. I really do appreciate that. The knot is not in my stomach like it used to be anymore. Now I get behind the mic and I'm way more comfortable. But yes, it still takes a lot. And some of the causes of like some anxiety from speaking, like we already talked about, is like the large audiences, right? So it's like when you first start. Like the podcast, it's like, 5 people are listening. And then 150 people, like, oh shit, right? Now I'm like, okay, don't think about that. So that's why I don't like to look at the numbers. It's like, I want to just come and just go, you know? Mm-hmm. Another fear would be higher status of the audience, right? So it's like maybe someone's judging everything that you say, or so if someone speaks and then someone's just like, wait, nope, that's not right. Or
somebody
this,
fact
that.
checking
Yeah. That's like, or if they're just smart, so it's like
your shit got to be on point. True. Like, don't be coming out there talking no bullshit, coming out the side of your ass.
True. And then hostile audiences. That just reminds me. That reminds me of which I mean, I don't know how many people would actually go through this, but it's a story. It's a Bernie Mac story, right? When he was on Shyt with Martin Lawrence.
Bernie Mac and Martin.
Yeah. What was the show? Is the not Martin show, but
the Bernie Mac show?
No, baby. Russell Simmons.
Oh, Def Comedy Jam.
Yeah. Okay. So when Bernie Mac was on,
okay.
when he was on, when he was on that show, I was like, what is the name of that? And the situation was the crowd there, they said, was ruthless, right? So the crowd would boo the hell out of you. Like if you were bad, they would boo you. And apparently right before he got on stage, and I don't know if you guys have ever seen this but look it up if you have. It's pretty cool. We didn't know the backstory of it. When you watch it, you don't know the backstory, right? So the person before him got booed like crazy, right? So when he got on stage, that's why he was saying like, I ain't scared of you motherfuckers. Yep. You know what I mean? Because in a sense he was, right? But he was telling them like I ain't scared of y'all. You know what I mean? Like I'm gonna come out here, I'm gonna do what I'm supposed to do, I'm gonna make you guys laugh, and I'm gonna get off the stage and y'all gonna be happy. I ain't scared of y'all, right?
That's 1000%.
And he had to keep on saying it. He kept on saying it, right? So not only did he eventually convince himself, but he convinced the audience like he ain't scared of us. He ain't come out here for this. Let's go, So changing that hostile situation and in dealing with that, I think that's a hell of a skill.
I think it's impressive because in my head I was thinking about when you're one person talking to the mass and the exchange of energy, right? Because the fear becomes whatever energy you're receiving, but instead you gave out the energy and then you changed the mass, and that's what Bernie did, which was a classic Def Comedy Jam episode when he came out. And I remember he had his glasses on, he had his jeans, and he said, "I ain't scared of you motherfuckers."
And he was like, "Hit me!" And he danced, and he was like, "Get it off me, get off me,"
So old school Bernie Mac, you definitely got to look at that. And then that just reminds me of how comedians are. Because they publicly speak on every time they get up and do a stand up. Yeah. And the last show that we seen was Chappelle. We went to go see Dave Chappelle and Chris Rock, and which was a great show. And before that, we seen Chris Rock and Kevin Hart. And same thing, like the performance of being up there with the lights on you, the heat, the judgment of whether or not my jokes are going to be funny. Yeah. And then you say, well, I'm in a crowd that is not about everything that I'm about.
Truth.
But I got to make them laugh at everything that I'm about. So
Truth.
public speaking, in the sense of, being a comedian, is a different. Like I respect them in a whole different level.
Yeah.
Like that's an athlete beyond an athlete to me.
That's true.
You know
That's
what I mean?
true.
And the practice that they put in.
And as every arena that they step in, they never know what the environment's going to be like, right?
Never know.
So it's like that unfamiliar environment is another thing that causes fear, So it's like, if I have my speech together, I studied it, I know it, and then I walk in a room full of like all white men, then it's going to be like, oh shit, right? Like, and I don't even care what their education level is, it's still going to be like one of those things that me as a black woman is going to be like, oh, let me see now, I have to come at this a little bit different, and if it was a room, to be quite honest, full of all older black women, I would feel the same exact way. Like,
1,000%.
Like, oh shit,
who's this young girl?
Yeah. Oh, they're gonna call me out on everything, right? They're looking at you. They're looking at what you're wearing. They're looking at, like, it's like, but hey, if you have something to share it. Like, put it out there. The world needs to hear. Don't die with your music in you.
So Les Brown says, the richest place on earth is the cemetery. So the reason why is because there's always unsung songs there. There's talent that's sitting in the cemetery. There's a lot of things that people have that never came out because of that fear. So don't be the one that holds that gem and that treasure that's inside of you. You know what I mean? Especially if you feel like it could help somebody. Now, we talked about public speaking. We talked about the fear of it, just a few things to help you out. Because by all means, I'm not a professional yet, but eventually when I do, you know what I mean? Come see me. come check me out. I hope you enjoy it. But the things that you should take away from this episode is, practice your content. Be confident in your content. Practice it. Don't just get up there and shoot from the hip. That's one of the things that we always talk about is don't shoot from the hip. Understand your content.
Know your shit.
Fact check it. And even if you don't fact check it and somebody called you out, be okay with it. Yeah. Like, accept it. Like, oh shit, yeah, you know what? I all the time I'd be like, oh well, shit, my bad. Like Rhodey right now. You know what I mean? I was just using it in the wrong tense. So, and then at the same time, engage your audience. You know what I mean? You want to be engaging. You want to be again, if it's 3 or 3,000, engage them. I said, move around the room.
Don't let your audience be over before you are.
1,000%. And don't be stiff. Like don't be stiff. Don't get up there and be you. You know what I mean? Like, I like to use my hands. I like to walk around when I'm talking to my team. So like, I have no problem talking to 115 people to one person.
Incorporate stories to make it more familiar to you. Make it easier to tell. Incorporate your life stories.
Yeah, exactly. Keep your message simple. Focus on the main ideas. And the biggest, this is the last thing I'm going to say, the biggest part is brevity. Keep it brief. Yeah. Don't be long-winded.
Don't take a 2-hour message and turn it into, a 2-minute message and turn it into a 2-hour ceremony.
And don't fucking repeat yourself. Yeah. Don't repeat yourself 5 times about the same thing. Yeah. It's like, break the eggs, create the yolk, stir it. But when you stir the yolk, break the egg.
Like, make sure you break the egg. Yeah, I know.
Motherfucker,
I heard that.
So brevity is everything when you're public speaking.
That is too funny. Jerry Seinfeld, I love Jerry Seinfeld to death, says, according to most studies, most people's number 1 fear is public speaking, which I just looked up, and it is. Number 2 is death. Death is number 2. Does that sound right? That means that average person, that means that if you're the average person, you'd rather go to a funeral instead of, you feel like you're better off in the casket doing the eulogy.
That's crazy. Is that as of 2022?
I don't know. This is his.
It is
you're saying that, the quote is, but the information that I found as far as is as of 2023, actually. Yeah.
Damn, son, we more scared of death than speaking.
76% of us have fears and anxiety towards presenting and speaking in public, presenting even online or facilitating a meeting, which we didn't even talk about that. Like facilitating a meeting is the same. I never really had to facilitate meetings until we got into business, right? And then that's when I started taking presentation classes and things like that, because I'm like, oh shit, I'm presenting, you know. And even if you know your shit, you know, it's like as soon as I get in front of people and I get into this flow and people are like vibing with me, I don't know, I always get weird. I always I click off and I forget where my words were. It's like everyone was so engrossed in what I was saying that I'm like, oh shit, yes. I don't know what that is, but I'm working on that. But that's something that happens to me often. I don't understand it. It's like everybody's feeling me and it's good. You know what happens to me when I'm gambling too?
Well, I'm
that's funny. Yeah, if I'm at the table and and I'm rolling the dice, then yeah, like I get into this thing, and then you seen it, baby. People start giving me the dice, and it's like, let's go. And then all of a sudden, I'll have the dice, and someone will be like, blow on the dice, you're the good luck. And then I'll be like, wait, what just happened? And it'll all crash.
That sounds like a little case of imposter syndrome.
Maybe that's exactly what it is.
That's what, so that's the other part. If you're thinking about public speaking and you're like, all right, you know, why am I here? Why am I in this room? Why are people listening to me? Imposter syndrome is starting to set in, and it's
real, babe.
It's perfectly natural, but it's like, how do you overcome it? How do you block that? How do you beat that obstacle?
Yeah, that's real, because it's a thing. I know, I feel it. I feel like I'm completely in my nest, right? Like I'm in my nest, and then other people see it and I'm like, oh no, stop.
I'm not worthy of my nest all of a sudden.
Gosh, that's exactly what that is. Huh. Okay. That's it. That's my final thought then. Shoot.
Shit. That's how you drop a gem right there. This is Life and Shit.
Life and Shit. I love you, baby.
Love you. Do us a favor. If you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe. Leave a review. Let us know what your thoughts are. That's the only way that this show is going to be successful. And we appreciate you. Talk with you next time.